I was waiting to hear that the president will build the Port Harcourt Maiduguri railway line, which is the Eastern Rail Line. You will recall that I brought a motion here for the federal government to build the Eastern Rail Line, and that motion was co-sponsored by 35 senators. It was unanimously resolved that the president should build standard gauge rail from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. All the senators on that corridor co-sponsored that motion. So I was expecting a legacy project, Eastern Rail Line, running from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. But it does appear that it has been overlooked again. Looking at the budget...
We have not seen the details now. This is
I've seen the provision on land transportation. What we have there is 223 billion. 223 billion. We have looked at it, and it is obvious with the ongoing projects from Kaduna to Kano, Kano to Maladi, and other rail lines under construction, that Port Harcourt Maiduguri rail line can hardly be there. So I want to draw the attention of the Senate to that. Let's hope that it is in the breakdown as you are hoping, but in the event that it is not there, I would like the Senate to intervene.
Welcome back to Christy TV. My correct people them. Igbo people has been snubbed in this 2025 budget presented by the President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. According to the video they just clip you watched. This man said that he was expecting that the president could at least mention the construction of the railways from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. Unfortunately, this particular budget, which was proposed by him, was equally removed by the president. Now, the question is, why did the president of a country remove budget meant to, construct railway from Maiduguri down to Port Harcourt? Knowing too well that the same Nigerian government equally built a railway from Nigeria to Niger Republic. Now, the question is, does it mean they have started recognizing Biafra as a country? Now, because once this kind of a thing keeps happening, when the so-called Igbo elite and political, will I use political leaders in the east of the country, abuse advocating and doing everything humanly possible to remain under one Nigeria. The same way they are trying to do that is the same way that the Nigerian government are trying to remove the Igbo people and stopping them from getting anything from one Nigeria. So when you don't want these people to get anything, then why would they stick with you? You don't want them to, move around freely. You don't want them to enjoy their wealth. You want them to keep suffering, and you keep coming to their land to take their wealth to enrich and develop your places. Do you see the problem? So these are the reasons to why Igbo people keep demanding for freedom. This is why they're demanding for their own freedom. My correct people, them not be smarting. I will allow you people to watch the rest of this video because so many things happen. Even when this man was still talking, they were like saying, "Time up, your time is over. You should just round up this and that." My correct people, them things say it they happen. Do you see it? Even when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu told them the right thing to do for him to quit agitation of Biafra, they refused to heed. They refused to do it. What did this man say? That you should construct railways in Igbo land, open seaport in both Port Harcourt and in Onitsha, and as well there should be an international airport in Igbo land. The Nigerian government blatantly refused. Rather, they look for how to buy this our brother. Una see for some of you that are fighting against your people, that are demanding for freedom or that are seeking for their own freedom, these are the reasons why your people are fighting for freedom. Imagine they are still holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu till now. If it happened that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is from the north or from Yoruba land, do you think the Nigerian government will still hold him till now? They wouldn't. Look at what this Dokubo is doing with Nigerian government in the eastern part of the country. Look at the insecurity in the eastern part of the country. Tell me any part of the country you see that Nigerian army food the way they feed in almost every towns in the eastern part of the country, looting and collecting money from innocent Igbo people drivers. You cannot pass anywhere without giving them money. 50 naira, 100 naira. That same way as you apply, you are going back, you are coming, they will still be collecting money from you. Whether you have passengers or not, they don't care. Do you see the problem? Anyway, my great people, may now watch the rest of the video. Tell us in the comment section your opinion regarding this particular video you are about to watch. Watch the rest of the video and air your own point
Mr.
of view.
President, let me say that the budget presented yesterday was a very ambitious budget with very huge financial provisions in the highlighted sectors. I don't want to go into the economics of the budget, but I was wondering how 1,500 naira for $1 will bring down inflation from 34% to 15%. I'll leave that to work out. Let me go straight to where I have concern. Mr. President, my concern is on the infrastructure proposed by Mr. President to be built in 2025. During the budget speech, Mr. President highlighted that Sokoto-Badagry Highway will be built and the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway will be built. I was waiting to hear that the President will build the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri railway line, which is the Eastern Rail Line. You will recall that I brought a motion here for the federal government to build the Eastern Rail Line, and that motion was co-sponsored by 35 senators. It was unanimously resolved that the President should build standard gauge rail from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. All the senators on that corridor co-sponsored that motion. So I was expecting a legacy project, Eastern Rail Line, running from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. But it does appear that it has been overlooked again. Looking at the budget...
We have not seen the details now. This is
I've seen the provision for land transportation. What we have there is 223 billion. 223 billion. We have looked at it, and it is obvious with the ongoing projects from Kaduna to Kano, Kano to Maladi, and other rail lines under construction. That Port Harcourt-Maiduguri rail line can hardly be there. So I want to draw the attention of the Senate to that. Let's hope that it is in the breakdown as you are hoping. But in the event that it is not there, I would like the Senate to intervene, because the government has just announced free train ride starting from 20th December to 6th of January for the holidays. There's no rail line in that corridor. So I pray that the Senate should consider.
Your time is off.
Senate should consider that project to include it in the 2025 appropriation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Hussein Babangida.
I would like to say that the statement of Mr. President CMC in talking about the milestone achieved in implementing a 2024 budget is not really reflected by the facts on the ground, because it talks about the revenues in record numbers. It talks about implementing expenditure up to 85% by the third quarter. But in the oversight functions that we undertook over the last 1 month, almost all the MDS got only about 20% of the capital budget. So it means that all the revenue we have been generating has been expended in recurrent. Therefore, not much development has taken place. Secondly, Mr. President, I think it is good to talk about implementing legacy infrastructure projects. You know, one of my colleagues have mentioned the Badagry Sokoto Highway and the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. Mr. President, we have roads, highways within the country that are in very bad state. I would expect that we will also focus on rehabilitating existing roads that are in the country. Finally, Mr. President.
Your time is off.